Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to the Mary D Talk Show. For those of you who've never met me, my name is Mary D Welch, and I'm your host for the Mary D Talk Show. As many of you know, every time we have the show, what do I say on Mondays? It's a beautiful Monday. And I'll be honest, it is raining in Southern California. Can you believe that? Rainy. You know that song that says, it doesn't rain in Southern California. It does rain in Southern California. And it's right now, I think it's stopped for a minute, but it's been raining since yesterday. I just want to let you know that. Welcome our live viewers and welcome our replay viewers. For those of you who've never been to the show before, you can go to YouTube and you can like and subscribe. Just hit the like, hit the subscribe, and that always helps people know that when the show comes live, you'll get a notification and know when we're live. And that makes a huge difference. So thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, first, I am back. Those of you know, last week I was in Washington, D.C., Maryland with my cousins. Well, I'm back home now and had a wonderful trip, though. Really, really good. I was at the National Council of Negro Women, their national convention held in Washington, biannually in Washington, D.C., and that's where I was for about almost a week. I think it was like 6 days, 6 days, and then I made it back home. So now, for those of you familiar with Riverside section, Riverside has their own section of National Council of Negro Women, and we also have an Inland Empire section. So the two sections are sister sections, and as we go on, we're going together, just really enjoying the growth of NCNW. Just know that. First, before we get started and I introduce you to our special guest, you know I always like to show you the books that are through Front Page Publishing and our authors. And I will start with the book. The very first one I'll show you is from an author. This was her very first published book. Her name is Fayette Foster, and this is her book. It's Why Is Little Faye So Happy? You notice I show a lot of children's books. That doesn't mean that's the only books that I write or that the authors write. It's just that these are the newest ones that have come out to these authors. As many of you know, I've always liked to celebrate the author that I have so much admiration for. She is a wonderful, wonderful lady. She's done a lot for the community. She's she started, it's called PAL Center, or provisional. I don't want to say it wrong, but it's PAL. But it's a learning center in San Bernardino. They now have an academy. Her name is Dr. Mildred Henry, and this is her first published book, From the Ashes I Rise. I'll make sure you see that. You want to get your copy of this book, ladies and gentlemen. This is what the back. This is Dr. Henry on the back. There she is. Hi, Dr. Henry. I don't know if you're there today, but she watches the show. She is definitely someone who watches the show really often. So that's Dr. Henry's book, From the Ashes I Rise. I'm going to make sure. Dare to Do the Impossible. Make sure you get a copy of that book. And I'll show you a couple of them. I'm not going to show you all of them. This one's really important that I really want to share with you. And that is this one, Save Your Home from Probate. If you're a homeowner, many of you know I've written this book. This book is really, really instrumental in helping you save your home. Why is this important to me? Because after the loss of my mother, and our families went into probate, the home went into probate. Now, I didn't know what probate really was. I had never experienced it, didn't know what it was, didn't know what it even, I knew what the word meant, but that's about it. Now, those of you know, I call it the devil. That's what I call it. That's my name for probate. I call it the devil. Because you're literally putting family against family. So that's what made me come and write the book. There's 34 states in the country that you can fill out one sheet of paper. Think about this. One sheet of paper, you attach it to your deed. The home does not go to probate. It doesn't go before a judge. It doesn't go to court. None of those things. Now, if you own a home, and many of you may say, well, I have a will. Let me state, maybe I should title the book, A Will Is Not Enough, because that is the truth. A will is not enough. So if you have a will is not enough. What a will does is tell the judge your wishes. That's all it does. That's all it does. It will go to probate, and you will be in court, and you will be fighting other family members. That's the facts. So I'm saying that so that you wouldn't have to do that. Unfortunately, I feel like I'm not preaching to the choir. People don't care. I've just met too many people that I've heard people say, "Let them fight over it. I'm gonna be dead anyway. I don't care." And that's really sad because everybody loses. Everybody loses. So that's why that book is so important. The other book, many of you read this, and thank you, saying no nicely. And why I like this book so much, this is my first book I wrote for adults, is because that was me. I didn't know how to say no nicely. And once I did learn some, not, I don't want to say tricks, but tips, really tips. How can you say no without hurting someone's feelings? That was what I learned from that. And that's what I would really caution you, because that's what it is. You don't want to hurt people's feelings. So you don't say no, you go in and say yes when you should say no. And the other one is this, Stuck in the Elevator, for little children. I hope it doesn't scare anybody, but we were stuck in the elevator in Brazil. True story. Me and Oliver in the Brazil in the elevator, and I wish I could say we didn't get out, but obviously we got out. So they had to use a crowbar to get us out of there, but they did. Us and 7 other people. True story. And this one is from our son Justin. My cat is a spy. Let me show you that one. That's Justin's book. It's for ages, I'd say 2 to 6. You can see the words are really big, that kind of thing. Really cute story about it's about kittens or cats. And the other two, some of you've seen this one before, Peyton the Pink Whale with the Yellow Tail. And this is for ages 2 to 6 also. And this book is coming out. I have to do a restock on this one. It'll be out. Justin Lost a Tooth by, I say, in the next few weeks. I would say January 1st, but New Year's Day, people are really busy, so I don't know if it's a good day to do a book release. So we'll see. But it'll be out in the next few weeks. It's Justin Lost a Tooth. And I'll show you some of the pictures in here too, so you can see what it looks like. Like this. Oh, here we go. Like, so the big color pictures, that's Justin and him and his friend Armando over here. And Armando is actually the name of one of our grandsons, and that's Arju's name. Now, ta-da! Okay. So, ladies, almost forgot. A new thing is coming up before I introduce you to our outstanding special guest today. It's called Transformations. It's an anthology. 15 authors have contributed to the book called Transformations. I'm really excited about that. It'll be coming out by Christmas. Think about this. We're down to the last editing. I just spoke to the editor right before I came on air, and we're almost to the last part. Transformations. And it's called, it's an anthology, the type, but it's called Transformations. This is the very first one that we've ever done. I'm really excited about that. The new one coming out next spring that we'll be taking when people would like to submit. The submissions are next spring, and that one's called Reflections. So every year for the next 5 years, you get to have one of those Transformations or Reflections. All righty now. Now. I'm so excited. I'm excited because let me tell you why. I heard this gentleman speak. This was a couple weeks, Veterans Day. I can tell you exactly when it was. It was Veterans Day, and my husband and I were at an event, event for veterans right here in the IE. It was in Moreno Valley, and he spoke. And the minute he spoke, I was sitting there going, I turned to my husband immediately and said, I hope he's okay. If his schedule is available, that he would come on the show. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to read you his bio. Many of you already seen the email, but I'll read you just some excerpts from his bio. The gentleman's name is Xavier Palmer. He says, since his early days as a young man growing up in South Central Los Angeles, my head has always been in the skies. My earliest memories have been flying through this planet's vast atmosphere and beyond. Growing up in the 60s, I never missed a space launch. I was always hoping that one day I would slip the surely bounds of Earth and fly with the birds and beyond. I got my first opportunity to fly in 1972 by starting an aviation club at Susan Miller Dorsey High School. Since that point, I have been flying since the age of 15. Wow. I got my first big break working for Western Airlines as a ramp agent. At that point, I went to Los Angeles Trade Tech to get my FAA airframe and power plant license while trying to build my flying hours. What a thrill! I was working around big jets, and that fueled my desire to fly to even greater heights. I thought about being an aircraft mechanic. I thought being an aircraft mechanic would be the end of the road for me in the world of aviation. But Alvin Corbin took an interest in me and said I could go further with my education. He encouraged me to go to Cal Poly Pomona, where I earned my BS in aerospace engineering and technology. Ooh, 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 ooh. Sorry about that. I didn't turn my phone off today. Sorry about that. I gained aviation experience by working at NASA through a co-op study program with Perkin Elmer Aerospace Division. After working in the aviation industry on the ground, the ignition was fired up when I was accepted into the U.S. Air Force as a pilot. Wow! From that point on, I never looked back, but always promised to help other young men or women, as many have reached out a hand of assistance to me along the way. I have stood on the shoulders of the Tuskegee Airmen, Fred Pitcher, Robert Harry Lawrence, Lloyd Fig Newton, David Harris, Eugene Bullard, Bessie Coleman, Bill Norwood, and the list goes on. It is my way of saying thank you. Let's make a new generation of aviation superstars. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you our special guest for today, Mr. Xavier Palmer. Xavier, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello, Mary. How you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate this. It's really an honor to be on your show here today.
It is an honor to have you, as I mentioned to you speaking earlier. Well, I think I even said it to you that day that we met. I said, you could have heard a pin drop in that room when you, when you came out there. And
Right.
because we were all so enthralled because number one, I'll be honest, you're the first African American pilot I've ever met. I've never. I'm not
Yeah.
saying they don't exist, but the numbers are not. They're minuscule.
Yes.
So just to know that made that's what was interesting in it. Just that alone, I mean, you have some fantastic stories, but just that alone, I was thinking how many young men and women would go into that area as a profession if they knew they could.
Probably thousands. I mean, the opportunity and the door is wide open right now because just to be a pilot, there's a mandatory retirement for us there at the airline at 65 years old. And so many of us are now 65 plus years old or approaching 65. There's a shortage of pilots. The airlines are trying to grow. They just can't find pilots. They can't. The Air Force is not, the military, I'll put it that way. The
Mhm,
military is
mhm,
not making as many pilots as they used to. Uh, General aviation is kind of expensive. So that's why a
mhm,
lot of these airlines have gone out and started schools, much like United Airlines started the Aviate program. Southwest started a program called 225. Delta Airline has their own program. And they're trying to bring young men and women and bring them in, at least get their private pilot license and get
mhm.
them motivated to want to go into the airlines. I mean, the opportunities are immense.
Wow. Well, I know this. Before we get into the career, let's go back into your youth, which I was still fascinated by. You said you would. What made you even look to the skies and say that's something you want to do? Because there weren't many mentors to look to at that time.
Well, it's kind of strange you should say that. We always have a saying there in the aviation world. There's some pilots that are made, and then there's some pilots that are just born to be pilots.
Mm,
Not to put myself on a pedestal or anything, I think I was born to be a pilot because
wow.
there was really no initiation from anybody in my family. I used to just see airplanes fly. I lived there in South Central LA, and I'd always see them
Mhm,
coming in for a landing there in Los Angeles and all the rest
mhm,
of that good stuff. And one thing that really motivated me more than anything was basically the space launch. As a child, it was early 60s. This is when the Mercury, then the Gemini, then the Apollo. I never, ever missed the launch. I don't care if it was
wow.
2 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If I
Mhm,
could get up and see it, I would definitely get up and see it. And that's what kind of motivated me. So the first thing was is I really wanted to be an astronaut. And actually, there's some things in my life that I had an opportunity not touch bases with, but flying airplanes has just been a passion that I don't know. I can't help it. Just like a singer,
Yeah.
some, they like to sing, and I just wanted to fly. So that's
Oh
kind of
my
where.
goodness. So you don't get dizzy when you go around in circles or anything like that?
Oh no, no, not anymore. I mean, I have lots of stories when I first got into the military, and they're turning you upside down and doing all the hard flying, and I got sick, and I didn't do very well at first, but
Okay.
I was determined. I wasn't going to give up, and this is something I wanted to do. Like I said, since about the age of 5 is when my parents told me that I first started said, "Fly, fly! I want to fly! I want to fly!" And probably one of the most interesting things is
Uh-huh.
that time in the early '60s, there was really no role models out there
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
except for, and like I said, it wasn't really that advertised that much, was the Tuskegee Airmen, which started
Mhm.
back in about 1941 to about
Right.
1948, and they flew in World War One. Correction, World War Two, and then,
Mhm.
like I said, they kind of went back to their normal lives. Uh,
Mhm.
there was really no commercial aviation pilots out there.
Mhm.
Uh, it wasn't until a young man by the name of Marlon Green ended up suing Continental Airlines, and eventually that's how he became one of the first gentlemen that actually got hired with a major airline, and actually one of the first guys that got hired with an airline. And it was while this suit was going on, while he
Mhm.
was suing Continental Airlines, was a gentleman by the name of Dave Harris. He was actually the first one that was and got hired by American Airlines. And then next there was Fred
Wow.
Pitcher, who got hired by Western Airlines. And then there was Bill Norwood, who got hired by United Airlines. And this all happened back in the early 60s, 62, 63. And then
I,
later on in 63 is when Marlon Green finally got hired with Continental. Because
after he sued them.
after he sued him, because they had actually promised him a job. And then when he showed up, it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Wow.
Not what we're expecting.
So in
So
other words, on paper he looked good.
excellent on paper. All of them look great on paper. I mean, even Dave Harris tells the story when he interviewed with several other airlines. And
Mhm.
finally, he got ready to interview with American. He says, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I'm an African American before I even show up. And the guy basically told him, can you fly airplanes? If you can fly airplanes, we'll hire him. That's how he got hired at American Airlines.
Wow.
So somebody opened up a door, an opportunity, and he walked in and busted in. And like I said, we all just been coming in gangbusters behind him.
Well, just the thought. I'll be honest. I get dizzy if I'm on the rides at the amusement park. The
Right.
things if they flip around or go around, I can't do it. I that alone is just like. And maybe if I could get past it. So you were able to get past it.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't think I tried that hard to get past it. Because I would get dizzy and be like, I remember at Magic Mountain, this is the truth. I had to crawl off the ride. I was
Yes.
so sick. I had to crawl, not stand up. I couldn't even stand up. I was on the ground, and the people were trying to help me because I couldn't. My equilibrium was so off.
Yes. It's all in your inner ear. That's where it all happens. And so
I
you
can't
get
even
two
get on.
signals, and that's why you get confused. Your ears telling you doing one thing, and your eyes are seeing something else, and it's two. And
I
that's
can't
why
take
you
it.
motion sickness and all the
I
rest of it.
get it in a swing too. If I swing on a swing,
Right.
I get the like you said, the inner ear. It's bad for me. I haven't got past it. I even when I fly even now, I'm good flying. I'm so interested. I don't get any
Yes.
motion sickness. I get no air sickness, none of that. Thank goodness. But I mean, I'm glad because I fly a lot. That's why I'm glad
Right.
I don't get sick. You know,
Absolutely.
but I
It
just
takes
get
some getting used
impressed.
to, but you eventually get used to it, and then like I said, I mean, thank God, that's fighter pilots. I mean, they turned upside down, sideways. I mean, but you still got to focus on what the job is, shooting down the other airplane, putting the bombs on target or whatever it is. So,
Right.
yeah, we have ways of combating that. Probably the most
Okay.
important thing you probably see over my shoulder, the instruments. You always got to believe the instruments. I mean,
Right.
they're going to be right. Then you have
Well,
backups. So,
now one quick question.
okay.
Are the red tails and Tuskegee, they're the same? When you hear the movie, I saw the movie Red Tails, but the Red Tails were Tuskegee Airmen.
Yeah, they were the Tuskegee Airmen. And
Okay.
what they did is when they got the P-51s, they wanted to make themselves
Stand
different from
out.
everyone
Uh-huh.
else, stand out.
Mhm.
So what they did is they painted their tails red. So that's how they kind of came along with the story, red tails.
Okay. And I'm
Yes,
just, because I'm listening to you talk about Tuskegee, I said, I thought it was the same, but I wanted to make sure I was absolutely sure they were the same. Because I mean, the movie was excellent. Everything was good. Uh,
yes,
but the story, and you said, I believe you're the president of Tuskegee Airmen, correct?
yeah. The Inland Empire, Buford A. Johnson chapter here in the Inland Empire. Yeah, I'm the president of Tuskegee Airmen.
Wow, that's wonderful.
We're
Well, we
lucky
definitely,
enough to have what we call a documented original Tuskegee Airman. In other words, this is one of the guys, and Colonel Leonard. We're lucky enough to have him on board. The name of the chapter is Buford A. Johnson, who was actually one of the first black mechanics. And again, he went through basically what they call the Tuskegee experience, which later on now we call Tuskegee Airmen.
right.
Uh, that's how it all came about. I mean, so like I said in my bio, these are some of the guys' shoulders that I stand upon. I mean, these guys paved the road. They made it a little easier for me.
Wow. Wow. I get fascinated because I mean, I see pilots. I mean, just recently I got off the plane Tuesday, and I was actually, it's funny that I knew you were coming on the show, but I
Right?
thought about when was the last time you saw someone of color as a pilot? I
Yes.
honestly cannot remember. I'm sure I have, but it's not something I see frequently. And I think you told me it's less than 1%.
Yes.
That is
Basically,
low
African American.
because aren't we like 12 or 13% of the
About 12%
population?
of the population. Yes.
But 1%. There's something
Yes.
not right about that to me, you know?
Well,
So,
like I said, it hopefully it's getting better because a lot of the airlines have really kind of pushed for and try to get more minority pilots in there. I mean, and I have to my hats up. They're really trying, but the thing is, you have to be ready, and you have to have the particular certificates, the flying hours, and that's difficult for a lot of people of color. I mean, you don't have that money to do that. Like I said, I went to the military, and
mhm.
it's always a funny thing when I decided to go to the military. My dad says, "Now, when you get in there in that military, you make sure you get back all my tax dollars." And I did. I did everything I could to get back every tax dollar that he ever paid because I flew
Mhm.
every airplane and flew as much as I possibly could. So hopefully I got back his money.
Oh, and I think he said you were also in the reserves.
Yes, I flew in the Air Force Reserve. I actually flew active duty for about 8 years, got out. And the first place I went to is I flew for an airline called US Air, which
I've
is
heard
now
you.
part of American Airlines.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I was there for a year, got furloughed. So I went to work for the US Postal Service. I was delivering the mail, basically flying airplanes. I was doing
Wow.
overnight delivery of mail.
Uh-huh.
I did that for about 3 months, and again interviewed with United Airlines and got hired with United Airlines. I started there about 1991, March of 1991, and just retired here April of 2021, just a few months ago. I
Oh
was
my
there
goodness.
for 1 years. Yes.
How do you like retirement?
It's a transition. It's truly a transition, and I'm starting to get into it and starting to feel it a little bit more. But I'm trying to find what my calling is now. One thing it is, I really enjoy helping out young men, young women get into aviation, get enthusiastic about aviation, STEM, and that's why I'm involved with a couple other groups that I'll probably mention here as we go along here. But I'm involved with some groups, and that's what we do. We try to push this out to young men, young women, uh, and hey, the world's out there. And when you talk about aviation, so many people forget it's not just being a pilot, it's not just being a mechanic. To make this airplane go, it takes thousands of people. Everything
Wow.
from the guy that sells the ticket or the person that sells the ticket to the person that puts this airplane together, the person that puts the meals on the airplane, the air traffic controllers. I
Yeah.
mean, even the FAA, they don't have enough air traffic controllers. And that is a wonderful job. It's mandatory
Mm.
retirement at 55, and I think you can't be any older than 27 when you get hired. So
Wow.
good way. I mean, it's a government job, so there's so many things, and we try to introduce people to things like that.
And these are careers. I'll be honest. It's never crossed my mind to go into this field. But
Yes,
that I don't know. I don't think that's good. That wasn't even. It was. I don't think it was an option. I'm not saying it wasn't. I can't recall it ever being an option to me. That,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Even for air traffic control, never was that ever introduced as an option that this is something you might want to consider going into.
Yeah,
And I,
and it's amazing because especially now because with the younger generation like to play video games and all that.
right?
Every air traffic controller is basically that's what he's doing. He's just doing it with his voice, and he's got the screen. He's got several hundred airplanes that he's trying to not run into each other and all the rest of that good stuff. Excellent career. I mean, wow. If I was young again, and like I said, it's mandatory retirement. Like I said, at 55, 55, you go start another career.
That's right.
I mean, if you want to work, I mean, but
Right.
to actually do something else. So, yeah,
Right. Well, I know too. Um, I'm thinking that you have to really be, when I say paying attention to what's going on and with those planes. To look at the ones you see on TV, all they look like is little dots on the screen,
yes,
but you're literally, people's lives are in your hands. Is what it comes
absolutely,
down to. So,
absolutely.
but it is a good, like you said, it is a, what you're saying. All of this, it's a team effort. This,
It's a lot of logistics behind it. I mean, even when I was before I really got into the aviation, I was an engineer, and so that was designing airplanes. And
mhm.
some of the airplanes that I helped design was the F-20 Tiger Shark, the B-2 bomber, next generation trainer for the Navy. Uh, these
No,
are things that are behind the scenes that people don't even think
no,
about. You don't necessarily have to be a pilot. I mean, I'm going to let the cat out the bag. That's kind of the glory thing, when you're up there to pilot. Yeah, I'm the guy that got you there. I flew you. But there's a million people behind me that made this airplane go.
yeah,
And there's tons of jobs out there. I mean, and especially and rewarding jobs. And I always tell young people that find something you enjoy, and then
that's
you'll
right.
never work a day in your life.
It's
And
true.
this was me with aviation. Like I always say, this is the best part-time job I ever had in my entire life, being a pilot for United Airlines. No doubt about it. Best.
Wow. We were talking about the days you work, and as a I was in education for over 35 years,
Right.
and without a doubt, like you said, how many days did I work for the month? Easily 20 plus. And how many did you say as a pilot you worked?
I would average about 10. If I really wanted to work hard, I'd get up to about 16 days a month. And then the rest of the month, I'm off.
Wow.
I mean, it wouldn't be consecutive, like back to back days. It'd be like 2 days on, and then I'm home for 3 or 4 days, and then go back out on the road or something like that. I mean, but if you really want to work and make more money, yeah, you can go out there and really hustle. But if you just want nice and even 10 days, so 20 days a month, I could sit here at home and do something else.
That's not a bad, it's not a bad career. We do have some audience members that made comments, so I'm gonna go in
Okay,
and see. We
absolutely.
have Jeanette says, hello, Mary. Hi, Jeanette. And Charles says, hello, Mary. And he said, did I bring this rain? No, Charles, I did not. But I can tell you right now, we need it though, don't we, in Southern California? We do. And hi, Gwen. Oh, she said, hi, Mary. Hi, Xavier Palmer.
Hi, Gwen.
And this is Eva. Oh, hi. He said, Mr. Palmer is a great mentor. Wow. All right,
Absolutely.
Eva.
Absolutely.
Dr.
He
Eva.
has she has a wonderful son, Isaiah, a wonderful son.
Oh,
He's getting involved in aviation. Matter of fact, he's close to getting his private pilot license. And I'm really pushing him, and
wow.
hopefully he does well soon.
Wow. Dr. Eva is she is one of the submissions in this anthology. I'm really
Oh,
proud of her.
nice.
Yep, she's in there. I
Uh-huh.
remember Dr. Eva. And now we have Charles Benny says, is the gentleman, is he referring to a Fontana resident? He's
He's actually a Riverside resident. Yeah,
okay.
Colonel Leonard is the red-tailed gentleman. I mean, who's the original Tuskegee Airman? If that's who he's referring to.
Okay. And then we have Daryl Nichols. Hi, Richard Daryl Nichols. Hi, Richard. He said,
How you guys
hello,
doing
Mr.
this
Palmer.
today? All right.
And this is David. David says, hi, y'all from North Carolina. And then she said, did you get much rain? We did since yesterday, David. Now it looks like the sun's coming out right now, but I heard some more rain's on its way. We need
Right.
it. David's from Southern Cal, but he moved to Carolina. And Dana Atlas says, Bruce Atlas, Mr. Palmer is my dad. Oh, hi. That is so sweet. I know. Isn't that nice? I tell you. And then we have Janet. Hi, Dr. Janet. Love the presentation. Thank you, Dr. Janet. I tell you, Dr. Janet is a member of the National Council of Negro Women. She's one of our
Okay.
members. So, and then another one just came. Charles says, I think there's a Tuskegee Airman living in Fontana. Wow. That's what I
Yeah.
think he's talking about. There's someone who is a Tuskegee Airman and they live in Fontana. Do you know
What
about
he
them?
can do, what he can do if you verify who it is basically you can go to the Tuskegee Airmen national site and
Hmm.
actually put that person's name in there. We actually have a list of every Tuskegee Airman,
Wow.
every last one. The thing we're trying to do is get bios on every last one of them.
Hmm.
So if his name appears in there, it'll just say yes. And if he has a bio, he can go to another section and then he can read the bio on that member. But it's a lot of them. Believe it or not, we just had a national convention in September.
Hmm.
And one of the first events that I attended with the Tuskegee Airmen is I went to the wives' tea. Wow, how interesting! That's all I can say.
Really?
I cannot believe it.
Mhm.
Uh, it was so funny because a lot of these guys didn't talk about it.
Right.
When the movie Red Tail came out, both this lady and gentleman, they watched the movie, and at
Mhm.
the end, he says, "Honey, I was one of them." She says, "No." He says, "Really, I was." He said, "Go look it up online." Sure enough, she went online. Boom, there he was.
Wow.
They just didn't talk about it when they got back. When they got back, they just did their job.
Wow. And she's not all this time married to one. Never
Didn't
know.
even know. Didn't even know.
Oh, I don't know too. A lot of it could be due to racism. That's why
Absolutely
they didn't mention it, and they went through a lot in order to defend a country that wasn't always defending them.
correct.
So that's what I think
I
of
think Doc
that's
Rivers just said it here not too long ago. You know, I love my country, so how come my country doesn't love me back?
yeah,
I mean, he just said that here not too long ago.
sure did.
Another
Sure did.
incident. So
And that was a good way he put it too, I
yes,
thought. The way he did that. Because like he's doing a multimillionaire really. And he's still saying that. And
yes,
he realizes if he gets stopped, he's a black man in America.
yes,
It's that kind of thing.
absolutely.
Something has to change. Let me just say that.
Well, we're trying. We're everybody's trying to make a change. Every time we try to steer that boat, and it is something drives it off another direction. But we keep trying. That's the most important thing.
It
Just need
is.
dedicated individuals like yourself and some of the other guests here, and just put out an effort. And one
It
person
makes a
at a
difference.
time, we can change it.
I think you're right. I do. I think it's not an easy thing. It's just not.
Yes,
Yeah. So just
correct.
but one thing my parents were raised in the segregated South. They were raised in Mississippi. I was born in Mississippi and came to California. And they when one at one time my dad wanted to go back because it was so hard here. And my mother said there is nothing to go back to. She said there's nothing
Correct.
to go back to. And I remember that. And she said I would rather just deal with California. She said we go back to Mississippi, we're going back to picking cotton, we're going back. And I never knew any of that, but I just knew the stories of what they went through. And it really, so what you're saying is true. It's not overnight, but they felt that we would have a better chance. And nothing against Mississippi. So those of you that I don't be writing me and yelling at me and stuff. I'm just telling you what my parents told me. So I can hear it already. Mary, you said this. I'm saying it because that's what they told me. And they said,
Right.
but I'm saying this also, that's where their roots, and which are their roots that were there in the South, which means mines are there too. Because I was raised from parents from the South, which I have
Yes.
nothing but love and respect. So those of you that know, we go back to Jonestown all the time. So don't, so just know we love Mississippi. We do. But we also know that racism is everywhere. It is not limited to one state or one city or one county. So just know that.
It's
You
actually
might have to get that.
individuals what is really zeroed in. It's the person. That's what makes it bad. So if we can
It
change one
is.
person at a time, just
It
change
is.
one. Yep,
But I
absolutely.
had to get them off my back, Xavier. I didn't want to get the. I
Sure.
said just so you know, because I do. But I know people. But but we have a love for the South, and we do. I say that honestly. I really do. I have a lot of admiration for the Southern values and everything. Oh, I see other comments coming in. So we have want to say thank you for the comments that are coming from Jeanette, from Charles, Gwen, Eva, Dr. Eva, Richard Nichols, David, and Dana and Dr. Janet. Next, we have comments from, let me see.
So you
Okay.
got somebody from Mississippi, I see. Oh, I'm gonna let you go down the list, but
Oh, I haven't. Oh, I know. That's why I said something because I know people. They'll be like, "Well, why did you say so?" I'm not saying anything negative. I'm saying they're like I said before. Racism it exists, as you said before. It number one is taught. No one is born racist. Let's just be honest. No one
right,
comes in this world as a racist individual. That's it's impossible really because you're dealing with a clean slate. So it
correct.
has to be a top behavior. Elaine says, coming on late today. Sorry, but I will definitely be doing the replay. Oh, thank you, Elaine. Hi, Elaine. We are in another meeting together jointly, and I'm always have to jump off and come ready for the show. And Charles said, is there a Tuskegee Airman Challenge coin?
Yes, there is. You can purchase it again if you go to the national site in the merchandising area. They sell the challenge coins there.
And then we have, see, Dana said, Gulfport, Mississippi on the line. See?
Oh yeah. Well, see,
I tell you.
I'm gonna put her at ease there. I actually just bought a house in Jackson, Mississippi here earlier this year, so it's kind of my retirement home. So I kind of got some connections there to Mississippi.
Mississippi has changed tremendously.
Yes, it has.
A lot of people by now, as people retire, a lot of people are going down south. Number one, it's affordable lifestyle. It's a slower lifestyle, slower pace. But as you already probably know, their longevity outpaces any city in the United States in the southern regions because of, I think it's because it's the lower paced lifestyle. It is not a
Absolutely.
fast paced lifestyle. And as my mother would say, she said, it's a hurry up and wait lifestyle. That's
That's right.
that's what she described it as. She would say
Absolutely.
but she loved it. She moved back to Mississippi before she passed. In fact, she actually passed away in Mississippi.
Oh
She went
wow.
back. She went back home and lived there for almost 10 years. And so, and this is someone who said they would never go back.
Right.
So how I feel about that. Never say never. So it's one of those states. Like I said, I have a love for Mississippi. We'll be going there. Oh, we having our family reunion, but it's not. This is one of the first times it's not in Mississippi.
Oh, okay.
Normally we have it in Jonestown, Mississippi. That's my birth town. So,
Okay.
so, but I would tell you this the education that you received. I'll go to your education. We know you have a bachelor's in aeronautic engineering.
Aerospace engineering technology. Yes.
Is that a degree you had to have in order to be a pilot, or is that a degree you just chose to go to?
Well, that's something I actually chose to go into. I've always tried to, as far as aviation is concerned, I've tried to cover all the bases. I wanted to have an end some kind of way. Like I said, start out being a mechanic, later
Right.
on became an engineer, later on became a pilot. And even after that, I actually became an accident investigator. So I used to go out and investigate accidents. Uh, Only thing I haven't done in aviation is kind of the business side. But anything else in aviation, I was a flight instructor. I was a chief
Wow.
pilot over at March Air Force Base on the KC-135 unit over there. So when it
Wow.
comes to flying, I definitely was involved with anything when it came to flying.
It's not without you just love it. It's what it is. That's you can
Yes,
tell by there is no like. This is a love that you every aspect of it you're touching. You
hands
know.
down. Love it. Yes, I do.
Oh, that's wonderful. That
Something
is.
that I just kind of wanted to mention here is, and I kind of talked about it earlier,
Mm,
kind of helping out youth. There's two groups that I'm involved with, and we kind of work together. And
okay.
one's called Shades of Blue. You can look them up online. I think it's shadesofblue.org.
Put in.
But their primary objective is to help youth get involved into the world of aviation. The other one is another group here in Southern California. It's called Barbosa Space Center. And what they do at the Barbosa Space Center is basically try to introduce uh, young people into space. Like one of the projects that they're doing right now, they build robots and uh, things of that nature, and they're doing a mission to Mars. So they built one of their robots, and they have a fake Mars place, and they get to go around, take pictures, take samples, and all that. And who also involved with this is Texas Instrument. They help us out, showing them how to code these robots and things like that. And it is just
Wow.
spectacular to see these young kids how they really kind of take to that in a minute. And I mean, in a second. I mean, it's just quickly they just take to it, and it's that's what they do nowadays. I mean, that's what kids do. I mean, they love coding and they love all the rest of that good stuff. So
Wow.
I would encourage you to really kind of reach out and find those online. And we do some events here in Southern California. Actually,
Mhm.
ready to start another event out in North Carolina. And
Wow.
out Shades of Blue. I know they're in Atlanta, Chicago, Denver. They're everywhere, and it's to introduce young people into aviation. We want to get people involved into aviation.
Wow. Did I spell it correctly on the Barbosa? I put it up. I want to make
Uh,
sure. Is it
B A
A?
R B O S A, I think it is.
Okay, let me change that. And I want to make sure that is it a .org or .com?
I'm not sure if he. I think he may be a .com, but I
Okay.
know Shades of Blue is as a .org.
Okay. Let me go on and I'll leave Shades of Blue up. Hold on. Right
Yes,
here. I'll leave that up while I make the change on the other one. And then we have Oliver made a comment. Oliver said, "Hi, Xavier. Welcome to the show. Thank you for your wealth of knowledge in your field and keep up the good work."
thank you. You bet,
Exactly.
absolutely.
And
One more
Oliver,
organization I'm going to mention there also. You probably saw me use the cup here a couple of times there, but it's used to be OBAP, which used to be Organization of Black Airline Pilots, but now what it's called is Organization of Black Aviation Professionals, and that's a .org. You can find them, and they have summer camps. They have all kind. I just did one up in the upper desert up there in the Apple Valley this past summer. 10-week program during the summer, introducing kids to fly. It actually
wow.
ends up where we take them out flying, we take them to the airport, uh, fire department, police department, everything that involves with an airport. We got them involved with it, and it's a great introduction to find out if you like aviation. That's the most important thing that I try to tell people. Do you like aviation?
Right.
Because you get out
And
there and
I'm
do this, and I'm like, no, I really don't like it.
is it the like for is it www.obap?
Yes,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So it's www.obap.org or .com.
they're .org. Yes,
Okay, uh, they're a nonprofit. Okay, I wanted to make sure I got that, and then I'll go back and do Barbosa. I'll make sure that gets put up also. So, ladies and gentlemen, these organizations are here for you. obap.org. You want to make sure if you know any young person that is looking to go into an excellent career field, I definitely would suggest you go into that one for sure. I would
absolutely.
encourage you to go into that. Is that if that's a career field you're interested in? That's one, and the other one was Barbosa, Barbosa.
Yes,
And what was that? It was Barbosa.
Space Center.
Okay, I'm gonna put that. I'm not gonna put a .com. I'm just gonna put just. You can go to just
Yeah, just
Google
do a
it.
Google search and you'll definitely find him. I mean,
There
that's
you go. That's what I thought I'd do too. There we go. Barbosa Space Center. And these are here for you. This is hope. This is all this information is for you to share with your friends and family. And she said, and Dr. Janet says she's looking at it now. So that tells you just how important it just that's three organizations. If you know a young person that's interested and they're interested in aviation, then you also have Tuskegee Airmen of the Inland Empire, correct?
absolutely. And that was I was going to save the best for last.
Okay. Okay. So that's www. It's Tuskegee, Tuskee. That's all right. S
AEGEE.
Tuskgee.
Yeah, I tell you, an easier way to do it is if you do a search on Google, just go to Buford A. Johnson chapter TAI. Just do it, and
Buford A. Johnson chapter. Here we go.
TAI, yeah,
Oh,
Tuskegee Airmen Incorporated.
TAI.
Yeah.
Got it. I'm gonna put that up there, ladies, gentlemen, because I know we all know someone that can appreciate can contact any of these because this is a positive, and these are not low income jobs. These are jobs that they're going to do well financially once they're trained in these career fields. Am I
I,
correct?
I try not.
Am I correct?
I try not to. I'm trying to look for the right word here. I try not to elevate myself because I feel like I'm just another cog in the wheel. But I will tell you, Uh, being a pilot, you will easily be a millionaire. I'll put it to you that way. Easily.
Wow.
Easily.
I heard the easily part.
Easily.
I heard that part. In other words, that it's an excellent, excellent area.
Like I said,
But you,
there's a
like
lot
you
of work
said,
at the beginning, but then, like I said, on the other end, there's a big giant gold nugget there for you on the other end there.
wow.
Truly. So that's one of the things that I will kind of emphasize to you more than anything. So please just yeah,
Look into it. Well,
look
we're
into it. I
giving
mean, just like I said, I don't want to talk about my salary or anything like
right.
that.
No,
But
no,
you can
no.
find it
You don't
online.
have
You
to.
can definitely find it online. You'll be surprised. Like, whoa, it's like, and like I said, if you connect it with something I said earlier, best part-time job you ever had.
Wow.
Part-time. So you can do something else. There's a lot of guys I used to fly with there at United. They were doctors, lawyers, veterinarians, real estate agents. They ran all kind of businesses because they had so much time off, so they could get another business going. So
Wow.
that's the nice thing about it. So
That's impressive. So if you know someone that's interested, there's nothing but opportunity here.
yes,
And for you to say that you're willing to help young people, saying what you said, which I totally agree. You stand on the shoulders of other, predominantly gentlemen, that have said that they opened that door for you. Uh,
right.
and that made the difference, the whole difference in the world. You did not have to break through that door; they did it, but you still had to be trained, and you have to be ready when the opportunity open. The opportunity open provide
Well,
opportunity.
one of them that you mentioned in my bio, and I put her in my bio, is Bessie Coleman.
I saw that.
She is a woman that wanted to fly but could not get her pilot license here in the US of A. She had to go to France to get her
Yeah.
pilot license and
Hmm.
came back to America. And then she basically went on the barnstorming and touring that way, but could fly.
Right.
Uh, you look at another guy that I mentioned in there in my bio here. I'm just kind of looking at my bio.
Hmm.
Is Eugene Bullard,
Hmm.
another gentleman during World War One, had to go fly for France, but he was an American. Had to go fly for France because they wouldn't let him fly here in America. So
Wow.
so the opportunity is there.
Oh, it says you can earn six figures for over 40 plus years in aviation.
Yes,
Wow. Thank you, Dana. And that's what did you it says Dana.
Atlas.
It says Lane here. I don't
Okay,
Dana Atlas, but then I was looking at her moniker over here, the logo.
right.
Okay. Well, Dana, thank you. And welcome to the show, Dana. I hope you do come back again too. And then Elaine says, I will be sharing all of this information with 100 Black Women, the LA chapter, the Good News Foundation, and Glenn Lovelace. All have interest and have worked with youth in aviation. Thank you. Wow. Please do, Elaine. And I'm gonna tell you who Elaine is. She helps thousands of students get scholarships to go to college. Thousands. She has dedicated
Fantastic.
her life to youth. She is a retired educator also. We actually worked in the same school district.
Yes.
So when I tell you Elaine's going to share it, Elaine's going to share it. And I would like to put something together, and we'll talk off camera, that can be emailed out to the everyone on the email list to let them know these organizations even exist. Because
Okay.
sometimes people are not involved because they don't even know they're there. And Richard
Yes.
Nichols said he had the pleasure of taking a picture with Mr. Buford A. Johnson, looking at the picture of a plane that he flew at the Upland Airport hangar. All right, Richard. Thank
Absolutely.
you. All right. And Richard is a strong supporter. In fact, Richard has a show that comes on after this show, and it's
Okay.
the Sandy Rose Show on Facebook, and they're live also. So thank you, Richard. Thank you for taking time out to come to the show. And it was nice seeing you, Richard. And this is Lorena. I can't pronounce your last name, Lorena, but she says, Hi, Xavier. Great resources for the youth. Thanks for taking the time to get involved in these programs, in this program.
Good friend of mine, Lorena. Again, I'll miss you, Lorena.
Oh.
Go Argentina. Go Argentina. She's a
All
big soccer
right.
fan or football fan, as they say over there.
I
So yeah,
know. I know.
absolutely.
I
One
haven't been.
other
I saw a little bit. They were arguing. That's all. But I haven't kept up with how who's
right.
winning or losing. But
One
but
other
welcome.
organization I want to mention there also too. Another organization I'd like to mention is I just got involved with them, and they primarily in Los Angeles, but they're trying to spread out and come out here to the Inland Empire. But they have chapters across the nation. There, it's called Black Girls Do Engineering, and they're a .org. Yeah, blackgirlsdoengineering.org, and they are really pushing STEM. And I had the chance to go to one of their events here not too long ago. These young ladies are so sharp. There's two of them I just fell in love with right away because they both went to Cal Poly Pomona. So I said,
Uh-huh.
yeah, go Broncos. So, but they were both chemical engineers. All these young ladies are chemical, electrical, mechanical. Oh man, they are great individuals. And what they're trying to do is get youth involved with STEM.
Uh-huh.
People say STEAM, STEM, get them involved.
Wow.
Put down this thing to doing this and get in there and start doing something, mathematicians or things like that. And that's what they're really into.
Well, I know STEAM, I see STEAM and STEM, and the only difference I noticed in STEAM is the A for
Art.
art. That's
Yes.
what I noticed, and it is really when you can get kids to focus long enough, and then they actually say it's easy for
Yes.
them. But I think with that TV and those games have got them so caught up till they don't know that what else is available. Richard said,
Absolutely.
"Did you tell did you tell your audience you won for having the most Bostons on Saturday at our bid whist party?" No, I did not, Richard. Ah, I know, Richard. I did not tell them. I probably should, but I don't exactly go bragging about that, Richard. But no, we play in a bid whist club, and
Okay.
we played Saturday night, and my partner and I had the most Bostons, so we won
Wow.
that night.
That's impressive.
I enjoy it. You play bid whist?
I used to play a lot, but it's been a years. I'd have to get dust off the rust.
Oh, that's okay. I tell you, this is what I've learned about that game. As in any game, you
Right.
get into a rhythm. That's what I call it. You get into the
Yes.
rhythm, you start playing, and that's the number one thing. But we play, and it's all in fun. What I tell people, the minute I sit down to a game, whatever problems I thought I had are left outside of that table,
Right.
and I have to focus on those cards, on what's going on. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Bid Whist is a game that's played predominantly in the African American community, and it's a card game. Four people play at a time, and all the cards are dealt out. The highest card is the big joker and the little big joker and little joker. It is a fun game. I learned how to play when I was 8 years old. My uncle taught me, Uncle Rose. So hi, all my cousins that know Uncle Rose, and I've been playing ever since. So I love it. Actually love it. So I still play even now. And so now that you made me talk about that, Richard, because I wasn't going to talk about it. I wasn't even going to mention it. But he came and like I said, it's all in fun. It's definitely. But let me ask you, Xavier, if what would be some tips you'd like to leave our audience? Because we want to make sure if there's someone out here, how would they get in touch with you? Would they go through the Buford A?
Buford A. Johnson, you'll see me on there, and so
Okay.
that's one way to get in contact with me. I kind of like to leave everybody with some words of wisdom here, and it's kind of the words of wisdom that the basically the Tuskegee Airmen is like the six principles that they live by, and what got them through the tough times and made them the great aviators that they were. And the first principle basically is aim high. Always aim high. So you got to choose something very high. That's all. That's all I can say. Don't just say I'm gonna settle just being a bum. I'm gonna say it like it is. Don't say you are an individual. You have a mind. You can do something. I always say when I see a young man or young woman out there on the streets, I said, you know what? That person may have the answer to cure the cancer, but they just don't know that they have it.
Yeah.
So they need to be cultivated. So that's where it comes to aim high. The second principle is always believe in yourself. You can do anything you put your mind to, anything. So believe in yourself. Got to strongly believe in yourself. The next thing is use your brain. Use your brain. Most important thing, There's a lot of information there. Use it. As I call it, the Wade syndrome here. Never quit. Never quit. Get knocked down, dust yourself off, get up and get going again. Never quit. These are the things that the Tuskegee Airmen live by.
Wow.
Always, always. Next principle. Always be ready to go. Be ready to don't say, oh no, I can't do that. I'm gonna wait till next week. No, be ready to go now. Opportunity sometimes only knocks once. You have to be ready to go. And probably the most important thing at the very end, expect to win.
Whew.
That's the winning attitude. You have to have that winning attitude. Expect to win. So there, aim high, believe in yourself, use your brain, never quit, be ready to go, and always expect to win. These are some of the things that I have lived by my entire life, and I didn't even know I was following their principles.
Wow.
Something else I want to mention too is I got to mention this.
Okay.
Some of the most important people in my life, my mom, my dad, my stepdad, and I know this might rub some people the wrong way. I'm on my third marriage, but all three of my first ex-wife, she's the one that made me. The second one, she really put honesty into me, and my third one, she put a lot of love into me. So I have to thank those people,
Mm.
and I really appreciate it. And my mom always said to me, she said, you can do anything you want to, even though she didn't believe in me at first. She says, well, there's not very many black pilots out there,
Yeah.
but that's what you want to do. Okay, we're backing you. And we went through all these things. I did the drumming thing, I did the scuba diving thing. I wanted to be an athlete and all the rest of that good stuff. But one thing that kept coming out more and more, always wanted to be a pilot.
Wow.
And so I really have to thank my mom. Another thing I'll say to her, I'll have to thank both my dad and stepdad. The two of them work together. Most of the times, you get one dad. I'm lucky. I'm a lucky, blessed black man. I
Wow.
had two, and they both backed me tremendously. So I can't get off the show without saying thank you to them.
Wow. I just hearing you, I know it sounds like you had so much love surrounding you, and encouraging you. Like you said, they may not have always believed in you, but they didn't try and discourage you either.
No,
So that in itself is huge. When you're a child, and whatever adults say, I remember my high school counselor told me not to go to college, and my mother said, "You going to college?" It was really my belief in what my mother was saying that got me there, not what he said, but when she
right?
said, "No, you're going to college," she didn't even hesitate. My mother at that time had not graduated from high school. She did not have a high school diploma. My father had a third grade education, and they believed so strongly in me getting an education. Till there's no doubt, I don't know where I would be without their belief in me. And that's what you're saying too. It was other people's
Absolutely.
beliefs in you that got you to do a lot of things you did because they believe so strongly in you. I
And
know I wrote some. Oh,
one
go on.
more person. I'm gonna thank my grandmother. She's not here either, and unfortunately, most of these people are not here except for my wife, though. But my grandmother, she was a disciplinarian, but she kept me straight and kept me on the road. And that's kind of something I would kind of like to tell youth nowadays. Take care of yourself, your body. You only get one. Don't ruin it. That's the most important thing you got. And I'm just going to talk earthly things right now. I know you've got to have a true belief in God. That's going to get you a long way,
Yeah.
but that'll get you everywhere you want to go. But I'm going to tell you the earthly things. Take care of this body. You only got one. Use it right. Don't abuse it. It'll do anything you want it to, but you have to believe in it. So please do that. And that way you can take care of your family because eventually you're going to have a family.
You're right. And though I truly have enjoyed this show, I do have to get off where it's exactly
Okay.
5. It may shut down. So everyone, thank you, Xavier, for coming on the show today. Thank you, audience. God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you next Monday. Bye bye, everybody.
Thank you.